you got to be kidding me. Why did I leave? And we heard a bull grunt from where we were at the day before, or the last 5 days. I did a cow call, and 20 minutes later, I heard some sticks breaking, and it was 10 minutes after legal shooting light opened. All of a sudden, here comes, that bull chomped twice and didn't know that he was going to die right in the spot where I shot him at. So half his head was hanging out and his antlers. I just kept looking through my binos like in disbelief. Like, are you kidding me? But I had a dream ever since I was a kid to hunt moose and and there's a bull, an exceptional bull, especially for the area, laying there in the water. It's the first moose I saw on the trip in 6 days. And I just kept looking and the fog was kind of lifting off the lake, and it disappeared for a second, and I'd look, I'm like, is he actually there?
I was like, well, if I throw a mic on, then I can help others the way that these people have all helped me.
Born in the heart of the Pennsylvania deer camp, with the help of experts, friends, and local legends, we bring you valuable knowledge and powerful stories for your hunting adventures. Welcome to the East Meets West Hunt Podcast with your host, Bo Martonic.
All right, we're live from Quebec, Moose Camp 2025. So I'm here. I got my brother, Kurt Martonic, here on my right, and then to his right, got my dad, Joe Martonic. We've just got done spending the last 2 weeks here in Quebec hunting moose, and I think it's been just about as good of a hunt as you could have imagined.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think we could ask for better hunt.
Yeah. It's been super cool. I can't believe it is already, this is day 13 of us being here, and we're going home tomorrow morning, but I'm very surprised that normally on anything this long, even if it's fun with hunting, you're ready to go home. And I'm ready to go home. Don't get me wrong, but Kurt, you were saying it yesterday, like you could still do this for another 10 days.
Oh yeah, I would do this for the next 2 months if I could. Yeah. Like it's just the fun style of hunting.
Yeah.
It's a really fun style of hunting.
No, it's been really cool, and we were able to shoot 2 moose on this trip, and we successfully filled both bull tags.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, leaf springs on the truck are going to be tested on the way home.
Yeah, it should be interesting. But yeah, we've got a lot of meat going back. But I did do kind of a short part 1 to this already with Derek out on Wetfoot Island, or maybe we've renamed it Moose Island, depending on. We haven't really discussed that as a team yet. But where we just kind of went through a little bit of like the first day coming in sort of deal, and just kind of what things look like. But Kurt, I wanted to start with you because this was a hunt that you came up with. Or not came up with, but you're the one that kind of was spearheading the planning and stuff with this. So how did this all come to be?
Yeah, I mean, I've just for my entire life I've wanted to moose hunt bad, and I realized that I'm not getting any younger. I just need to commit to it. So at the Harrisburg Outdoor Show, guess it'd be like 2023 time frame, I went up to an outfitter that Bill from Spartan Forge had used before for spring bear. Turns out they did moose hunts too, so I was like, well, I might as well see what they cost, all that. And then I went up and approached them about it, and it was actually like way more affordable than I thought it would be. Like super, super affordable for what you'd think anyways. And looking at it, you had to get put on a wait list, right? You had to put some money down to get put on that wait list. So I called Dad because I was like, 1, you have to have at least 2 people to go because up here you need 2 tags per moose. So I called him, I was like, hey, would you want to do this just to get it locked in? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So we did, and 2 years later we got selected for a territory here. And the way that kind of works is once you're selected for a territory, you kind of have right of first refusal for the rest of your life, basically. Like they have groups that are here that have been here, what did you say, 50, 60?
72 years, I think.
72 years.
Could be wrong, but it's pretty close to that.
Yeah.
So So somebody must have came up and did a hunt, and I guess not everybody's staying here 70 plus years, but some people might come up for a year or two, or 1 year and be happy with it. But now we have this pretty awesome option of if we want to do this every year from here on out, we can.
Yeah.
So it's it's a pretty cool thing, and we get the same area every time.
Yeah.
But so the other thing that kind of what made me go with this hunt in particular was I was very concerned about the experience of a moose hunt in Canada, because I've heard a lot about like Newfoundland hunting and riding around on four-wheelers until you find them on the four-wheeler and shooting them. You know what I mean? And I didn't want that. Mm-hmm. I also didn't want to be guided. I kind of wanted to learn how to hunt them, and learn them that way. So this was kind of the best of both worlds, where you had a 10 square mile area assigned to you, where your group is the only ones allowed in that area for that week. And then it was self-guided, outfitted as you'd call it. So we have this trailer here on the territory, and it's got heat, it's got water, like all the basic amenities. But so that was kind of allowed us to do the hunt that I was kind of envisioning, I guess.
Yeah. So to further explain that a little bit, so Quebec has it where I think that's Quebec wide, right?
Yeah.
With that you need 2 tags per 1 moose.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
At least I think when I read the regs, it said that. So basically, say you two are teamed up together, each of you have to buy a tag, and either of you can shoot a moose, but once one does, the other one has to apply their tag to that moose. And that, it took me a little bit to fully grasp and understand that, but it made, total sense. And it seems like then they kind of give, from talking to Pat. So Lac Brûlé is the outfitter that we went through here, and it sounds like they kind of get an allotment of how many tags they can give out in the area based on the population, all that different stuff. And then they kind of, determine and dictate. And it's just so happened that we were able to get 2 tags per 4 people on there. And if you're wondering why there's 3 of us here and how we're able to get 2, so Derek, my camera guy, also got a tag. So that's how we were able to be able to do that. But I mean, the cost, at least as of the time of recording this, was $4,000.
Yeah.
Per moose, basically,
yeah.
or per available, or
per week at a cabin, basically.
Per week at a cabin.
So
correct,
if it's $4,000, whether you have 4 people going to hunt moose or 2 people to go in to hunt moose.
Yeah.
So if you get a group of 4 guys, that's $1,000 a person, and then plus the tag cost, which is I think $600 something bucks US.
Yeah.
That's $1,600 to hunt for a week in a cabin. Very, very doable.
Yeah.
That's a Western elk tag in some states.
Yeah.
I mean, close to it.
Yeah, Wyoming's more than that.
Really?
If you're doing a special draw, if you put in for the special draw. But so yeah, it's pretty crazy. And from Pennsylvania, just about any part of Pennsylvania, you're about a 12, 13 hour drive.
Yeah.
So it's not even I have a longer drive going to, or about the same, maybe a little bit longer to go to Iowa to go hunt this year. So yeah, that it's pretty cool to be able to do that. When I went to Alaska a couple years ago, there's a lot more logistics involved, and it's a lot more difficult to get there, meet home if you were successful and stuff, where here is a little bit different.
It's far, it's far enough away too, but it's also like, this place is super remote.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are by vehicle 3 hours from the nearest gas station right now.
Yeah. And
there's no towns or anything like that until that gas station, and that's not even a town actually where that gas station is.
No.
So it's like we are out here, and it's very wild. Like it just feels untouched still. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean the woods look a lot like Pennsylvania in a way.
Very much so.
Very much. It just thicker.
What did we say? This is what a landscape looks like without the whitetail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not browsed down, so it's just like you have this big old growth forest, but then underneath it, you're walking through head high brush that's impenetrable in places.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what the whitetail takes down. That's what Kenny Kane wants his forest to look like.
Ooh.
Yeah, but he that's why he wants to get rid of all the deer.
Kenny. That's a joke, guys. Because people do. I have had some comments anytime I have Kenny on, just foresters in general, they just want all the deer dead. You know, they don't believe in helping people. But except for like so the difference is like when you see browse here, is moose are so tall, the browse is at your shoulder height.
Yeah, that's the browse line.
Like the browse line, so and above versus down below.
I will say the difference in the forest here is a lot that like it's incredible the size of the white birch up here.
Oh yeah,
The white birch, and there's a lot of huge cedars too.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something that I don't think I'm not used to seeing in PA, and it also gives the woods just a cool, like very bright color when you're walking through it because the sun reflecting off the bark and everything. It's either that or super thick pines that you can't get through.
Yeah, and a ton of maple.
a ton of maple, straight maple, sugar maple.
Yeah. There's a bunch of different
Norway
types of maple, and then then I found on one ridge a bunch of red oaks too.
Yeah, I'd seen some red oak leaves as well.
Yeah, so that is definitely not the majority. There's not too much of the oak that it seems like.
Like you were saying, I don't know if moose touch acorns because I don't know if they can get down to them.
Yeah, I don't know that answer either, to be honest. Like now where I was at, I saw some acorn caps and a few acorns on the ground, and there was no moose sign there. But I don't know. I really don't know that answer. You'd think that they would like to eat them. I just don't know if they can.
They'd have to probably kneel down to get them.
Think the bears clean them up?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the bears do. Yeah.
Plenty of squirrels, red squirrels too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, tons of squirrels. But yeah, this hunt was super cool. I'm glad that because when you first brought it up, Kurt, I wasn't sure because I'd always heard kind of the Newfoundland type stories and didn't know about Eastern Canadian moose. And it's like, okay, they're not as sexy as an Alaska Yukon moose with these big giant antlers on them and stuff. But to tell you, between the two that I've done, this hunt was way more fun.
Yeah,
it definitely was.
Well, the eastern moose too, like the Eastern Canadian moose, I guess you'd call it. They're a lot more vocal than the Alaskan species too, and which we saw that this week.
Yeah,
or both weeks actually. I mean, they are loud and they like to talk.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know how you'd find them.
I know. That's. I mean, so I saw 3 moose on this trip: a mom and two calves. Those are the only moose I laid eyes on alive. The other 2 are the 2 bulls you killed. But you'd think seeing them for 10, 15 minutes in 2 weeks, that would be like, wow, you didn't really see much. But every single day, my heart rate was spiked multiple times because of limbs crashing and moose just bellowing around you. It's like
they had to be sub 100 and you just can't see them.
Yeah, exactly. It's just too thick. It's
try to move in on them and wind swirling and they take off, and
learning experience for sure on that.
Yeah.
How to hunt them.
Yeah, I saw a total of 2 moose and they both got killed, so we got lucky there. But I didn't see any cows.
Yeah, I seen one. Well, I'm not sure if it was a cow, but that was out crossing the lake at over 450, I think I ranged it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe how fast it went, but I seen that one and then the one I shot.
Yeah.
Those are the
Yeah,
only
so
2
you
I
actually
seen.
got to witness it swimming across the lake.
Yeah, actually, both
of them too. We'll get into we'll get into those stories here in a bit. Just as far as like the kind of the final things on the logistics as far as planning this, like. So I also want to describe a little bit the cabin here. So it's, we got to bring our generator, but we do have running water. So we've been just kind of running the generator an hour in the morning and 2-3 hours at night when we get back at dark, just to have some lights, using microwave, stuff like that. So
yeah, we got a propane fridge, freezer, oven and stove. So full cooking there. It came with all the pots and pans and plates you wanted. We brought our own paper plates and stuff like that and our own pans just in case. But yeah. Yeah,
and you don't have to run the generator for water either. It's a 12-volt pump, and they have a battery on it. Every once in a while it needs charge, which it does that when you run the generator. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so you can use your generator very sparingly and get away with using a little bit as little gas as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember if you mentioned this, Kurt. So correct me if you did, but I don't know if it's all the provinces in Canada, but I know it's like this in Alberta and I believe in Quebec too, where we couldn't just come up here, go to public land and hunt moose. Like you have to go through an outfitter.
I'm pretty sure as a non-resident, you have to.
Yeah, as a non-resident, that you have to come up and you have to go through an outfitter. And then, they gave us access to this property and then we're allowed to hunt by ourselves.
And not only that, going through an outfitter, we're open to a much earlier season that is during the rut, where the general season in Quebec doesn't open up until like next week or so.
Okay.
Yeah. So when was it next week or was
October 11th? I believe.
I
think there's a archery season for during this time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's Saturday. That at the time of recording this, that would open up the rifle. That'd be really difficult to try to shoot one with a bow here.
Yeah.
Because you can still get in close, but there's so many limbs and stuff it's way different than Alaska as far as, I mean, even with a rifle it would be tough to get.
Stalks are nearly impossible.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I guess we might as well transition a little bit into talking about the hunt. So, I guess to get started, did you guys start hunting together at the beginning, or did you guys split up right away?
No, first day I think we hunted together.
Yeah, first day we hunted together. We hunted together pretty much the first 3-4 days, I think.
Yeah.
The only times we wouldn't were really in the morning. It didn't make sense to both of us sit at the same lake, so we'd split up to different lakes to watch them, just to increase our odds, right? But yeah, we hunted together at first.
Late morning we would go and look for more sign.
Yep.
And pretty much, boots on the ground and put 6-8 miles on in a day and try to learn the area, learn where we should be or shouldn't be, and just started eliminating areas and adding areas to hunt.
Yeah. And that was a huge help from the get-go, because I think the area me and you wanted to check out, which we did the first day, we thought was going to be super productive, and it was barren of sign.
Yeah,
it was too dry. But yeah, I mean basically the strategy we kind of came up with and later adapted, but was morning sits at the stands, which these stands are these old wooden block, sometimes near lead houses, other times a pallet screwed to a tree that you have to climb up, but and you'd sit in there, overlook that lake, do some calling, and then get down about 10. We'd do kind of scout an area based on the wind so that we wouldn't blow out where we thought they were, and then come back in the evening and sit either at the same stand or a different stand, and that was kind of the strategy for the week.
Yeah, and so the stands that are there, the outfitter actually doesn't put those out for it's the people like us that have but the ones that have been coming here for years. They come in the spring, they prune some ATV trails to get into some of these places to make walking quieter or easy to get into, and they build these stands, which is pretty cool. Definitely appreciate their work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They had to put a ton of work into these.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Yeah.
And they're kept up well.
Yep.
They definitely keep them up well.
There's some sketchiness to everyone has its own level of sketchiness.
Yeah.
Like that one at the lower lake that I was sitting at.
Yeah.
They have beautiful computer chairs and all of them, which are super comfortable.
Oh yeah.
But that one, I had my back, since it was kind of angled, if you're on all the wheels, you'll just roll down to the edge. So I had to hook one wheel over the edge of the plywood, but that part of the floor was rotted out. So it's like if I shifted my weight too much, the chair would tip out and go through the floor. Yeah, I had to stay on a stud that was about this big, the size of the computer wheel with that rear wheel. And then that other stand, that one, the highest one, you use an aluminum ladder to get to some wooden steps that are screwed into the tree. And then the last 3 steps are limbs, and it's like a pretty big step. And then you get into the stand, and you're like, there's no railing to grab onto, so it was pretty sketchy. Going down was more sketchy than going up.
I would not want to go in or out of that stand in the dark.
No.
Yeah. And it's so funny that your tolerance of what was acceptable from day one to the end changed. So like the one tree I climbed in, I was like, this is not, I don't know about this. And Derek's like, I think it's fine. So he hung on a saddle off the side of the tree that this was, used a couple screws and some zip ties and things to hold everything together. But, it rocked a little bit, but it was good. Mine didn't have a computer chair in it though. It had a beach chair.
Yeah.
When me and Kurt were floating by yesterday, I was like, this sounds really weird, but I was like, if you're a beach chair and you're in the store, you have no idea how you're going to be used.
How you're going to live your life.
You live your life. You might be good to go to the beach a couple times a year, stored in the garage, or you get one here that's in the Canadian bush that sits there for 12 months a year.
Exposed to the weather.
Exposed to terrible weather and everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you guys were doing a little bit of a mixture of scouting / sitting at the stand there for a while, and I was doing the opposite as far as I was just sitting, kind of looking at it from like a rut hunting whitetail standpoint, thinking that, hey, this is a crossing. There's tracks that are coming here. The trail looks like it funnels in. Lake, they need to get water. It's super dry out. There's food around the lake with water vegetation and everything. Like, I just need to be patient and sit here through that time. And
the hard part about crossings, though, and we later learned that they do use them, but the hard part about crossings is a moose has no hesitation to swim. So it's like, how do you know that they're gonna funnel through there if they just don't care? Like, it's just that's something that I couldn't get my head around at first.
That one crossing that Bo was hunting, near or over, we were looking on the map. There's a lot of terrain features that do kind of make sense that funnel to that crossing.
Yep.
So I think that's one where, unless they're called, elsewhere around the lake, that they probably going to go across that crossing instead of swimming.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like a situation where if you say you can get a fired up buck, he might come through whatever if you call at him, or he might just beeline it, but he's just on his normal day. He's going to try to take the easier route. I don't think like they're just normally deciding like, hey, I'm just going to swim across this lake.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong. Could be. I'm sure people that hunt moose more than we do might have a better answer there, but that was at least my thought with sitting at some of those crossings and just waiting it out. And it was definitely questioned things for a while because it was 5 days of seeing absolutely nothing until that happened. But like you said, they didn't start to be vocal.
Day 3, I think it was.
Day 3, you were the first one that had...
Yeah, I had a lot of action.
Yeah, so explain that a little bit.
So on the night of day 2, I heard some very loud sticks breaking and all that, which up here there's no deer, so it's either bear or moose, basically. The only two things. And bear don't tend to make a lot of noise when they go through the woods, so it's almost always a moose when you hear that really loud breaking of sticks. But so I was like, I want to go back there the next morning. So I went back there, started doing some calling, and immediately had a bull answer me. And then all of a sudden I had another bull answer me. Then all of a sudden I had a hot cow join in, and then it was just insane. And it's all of it's happening about 250 yards across the lake from me, like in the woods across the lake that I was watching. At one point I had the one bull just let out a really loud grunt, like just anger, whatever. And he couldn't have been 5 yards inside the woods, but it's so thick I couldn't see him. Mm-hmm. And like the color of moose, they're really dark. Everything in these woods looks like a moose. Every stump, every shadow, so it's so hard to find them. But I mean, and at those moments, it's like literally that whole morning, my heart rate's pounding. I'm like, they're going to step out at any second to see like what my cow call, like to see what cow is out here or whatever, even though they can't really see. But at least I figured they would come check it out, and ended up having one bull circle downwind of me, and I think I might have blown him out when I tried to get closer to those other ones because they were starting to move away. Again, early, not experienced. When you hear a cow calling in heat and stuff like that, you don't want to do a cow call because then she takes the bulls away and tries to go somewhere else with them because she doesn't want them to leave her. So I made that mistake and tried to go after him, and then what I think was a younger bull, may have actually been this bull, was up in the woods 30 yards above the stand trying to catch my wind. But yeah, then after that, I think every day after that we had action.
Yeah, and because it was that morning you had it, and by the evening, I think it might end up being, now looking in hindsight, different
I don't
moose. But over at my lake, which I was, a mile away from you or less?
know. Yeah.
No, I was probably a mile away.
Yeah, probably about a mile.
Over one ridge and down in the other valley. But on the opposite side of the lake that evening is when it started firing up for us and hearing them. And I remember from Alaska, I was like, all right, it sounds like there's a bull with a cow there. They're probably going to be there in the morning. And it was like, we canoed in, got out to our island. It was the exact same spot. That next morning is when they fired off. And that's when Derek and I decided to go chase after them in the woods, because from your scenario the day before, not getting them to come out, we tried. It seemed like they were going further up in the woods. And it looked kind of on a map of pretty flat through there.
Yeah.
But
no topo map works here.
No, there's not. It doesn't matter if you have 10-foot contours. You're not being able to see these little tiny, when I say little and tiny, but just, I don't know, just these rises and falls and ditches and little terrain features in there. It's so dang thick. It's not like any of this is that tall. It's just, it's steep in those areas and thick.
Yeah.
Just nasty, nasty thick. To be able to go into. But man, that was one of the most fun days that I had hunting. It felt like I was chasing bugling elk because they were so vocal and they're responding to me. Then I learned that the cow, when I made a cow call, was trying to take the bull away from me, and I was like, I shouldn't have done that. So I went back to bull calls, and he's raking and I'm raking and thinking any moment. I mean, I had that bull within 50 yards 3 different times, and this is me assuming within 50 yards. And one time I was definitely able to confirm that, but it was just so thick, and it's crazy to be able to say that I'm with a 300 Win Mag. 50 yards is too thick to even be able to see them in places, but I felt, and it literally did feel like elk hunting sometimes, where I'm like, I don't know what else to do at this point, how to call them in. I'm inexperienced at this, and I'm just trying to figure it out. And it's been so dry that the woods are so loud to walk through. You're not sneaking on anything. You have to, let them know you're coming and just keeping the wind in your face, basically.
And you also have the danger side of it. Like, they are a very large animal.
Yeah.
And like, they also aren't known to just take off when they see something. Like, they aren't scared to.
They charge.
Yeah, they aren't scared to charge or whatever. And like we were saying with their eyesight earlier, their eyesight's just ideal for that type of stuff. I think it focuses at like 7 yards or something like that is what their eyesight is. So yeah, I mean, they're looking for a fight in the thick stuff. Especially if you're playing another bull, like that can get squirrely real quick.
Well, when Derek and I were going through there, and every time we think that, we're like, did they go away? Did we spook them? We're like, we should be able to hear them at least make a crash running away, which, looking back on it, we might not have, because they somehow can move like church mouse through the woods at times for how big they are. But we got in there and just sit there. We wouldn't hear them for a while, just sit there, and eventually they'd pipe off again. It's like, there they are right there, and moved in and had this battle, couldn't get to them. And finally I was like, all right, it's a little afternoon at this point. I'm just going to go in after them. And now, to say the woods are so thick that you cannot, and we'll get into more of the gear side of it later, but carrying a regular pack is not possible to go through this. Sticks and stuff are slapping off of it. Just not going to happen. Can't get through that, so that's a problem. And then you have, just, so basically you got to drop your pack, and then quiet clothing is super important as you're going through, because all those sticks and stuff are slapping. Normal sticks breaking is not going to mess up a moose. Like they're used to hearing that. It's when you hear unnatural sounds. Like when you said you took your backpack strap off to look at these moose, for the cow and calves from what?
They were 120 yards away.
Yeah, and the very slight noise of that had them turn their head.
Slowly working my backpack strap off my shoulder, it rubbed on my bino harness and made like a material sound, and she immediately picked her head up and just looked right in my direction. I knew she couldn't see me, but because they can't focus that far, obviously. But yeah, she just immediately picked her head up and looked at it, and I'm like, that was quiet as I could have possibly done it.
Yeah,
and that's so yeah, quiet stuff would be game changing for that.
yeah.
At least it'd give you confidence, if anything.
Yeah, definitely. But then, so I decided to move in on that moose and went up the hill. I'm like, he's got to be bedded somewhere in here. I'm like, get up, and we find all this where they like dug a hole in the ground. And it just smelled like a bull moose. I'm like, got to be close. And I let out a grunt, and to our left, this bull growled at us within 40 yards. I think he was laying in this beach, this tall beach saplings where it looked like there was a bunch of blowdowns, like a storm had blown them down, and they had grown up, the new growth from the sunlight hitting. And oh my, it was like you could feel it in your bones when he did that. And I'm like, what was that? I turned my gun, and Derek looks at me, and he's like, do you have what? He's like, do you have hazard pay? It's like, we're to get charged. So we sat there for a while, but our wind was blowing right there. But he knew he was safe in there, and if we got any closer, it wasn't going to work. I'm like,
it wasn't going to be safe for you to get any closer.
I was like, what do I do? Back out on this bull? So we tried to back around and pretend like, hey, we're leaving, and hopefully catching them when they were exiting the pond they had been at the last few days, and that didn't work. That was it.
And Kurt, during some of our scouting, we found where they bed, and that stick stuff like you're describing, found a bunch of different beds. So then we, had the strategies like, we're not going to catch them in their bed. We're not going to be able to get close enough to them in here. So it's like, stay on the outskirts, and try to piss him off basically to get him to come out to show himself. But usually the wind's so squirrely down there that doesn't work either. At least we weren't able to make it work.
Yeah, where they bed at. I mean, it's kind of like a whitetail a lot of times. They find those spots where they're almost bulletproof.
Yeah, they have everything going for them. They got the cover, they got the wind.
Yeah, for not having eyesight, they got to make up for it with that 3-foot-long nose that they have.
Yeah, and they said your hearing is excellent.
Yep.
And like you said, anything unnatural, anything rubbing that's not a normal sound to them is going to alarm them.
I think Derek said too, bulls with their horns, it can increase their hearing by 20%. Having those like the
satellite dishes on their head.
basically
funnel and sound.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Derek said that. I don't know if it's true.
Probably not. Just kidding, Derek. Yeah, so that really started, and then I don't remember. So that was day 4.
Yep.
Did you guys have any action that day? Do you remember?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
It all starts to blend together.
Yeah.
No, I might have heard one bull. I think I heard that small. I think I heard a bull. Yeah, behind me that day. I can't remember. But that's when we started going to the far lake.
Yeah.
That evening, and then we started getting action there.
What day did you see the mom and the 2 calves? That was the first week, but
that was the day before Bo got his. So yeah, that would have been day 4. Snuck into that far lake, and as I was coming in right at light, and I walked down the trail and look across the lake, and there's a mom and 2 calves standing there. But it was super exciting at the time because it's low light, and I'm just looking for antlers. All I can see is like every animal has their like tell of what you can find them quickly with, and like for a moose, for me, it was the light gray legs. Like those stood out compared to everything else. Mm-hmm. And then you find the body, especially in low light. But yeah, so we saw that mom and 2 calves. And then there was actually a bull grunting on the hillside that morning too. I went around the lake, tried to make a play on them. I thought he was coming, but I was hearing stick break all around me and all that. And I was like, again, I thought I definitely was within 100 yards of him at that point. But I think what I heard was the mom and calf working around me. and I thought it was the bull, so I started following that noise, calling at it, and I just leading me nowhere. But again, so thick you can't see. So
Yeah, that was kind of our strategy. Then at that point going forward, I'm recalling some of it was one, we'd find an action, then we, the next day, the rest of us would go in and kind of circle those areas and set up at our posts at lakes or crossings or whatever because there was rut activity.
Yeah, we'd look
going
at the
on.
wind direction and we'd think, okay, where are they going to try to head next to bed?
Yeah.
And it didn't always work, but
No. And I think what I've come to learn is we never successfully pulled a bull from a cow. When they're locked down, it's kind of like you're waiting for him to leave once he's done breeding her to go on and catch him in between the next cow.
And they say when those cows make that call like we were calling, that is them saying, I have basically 4 days. I need to be bred within 4 days. So when they're locked into a cow, they can be locked onto that cow for up to 4 or 5 days. So it's like, it's a game of, am I going to catch him the hour that he's done with her and is looking for the next, or am I just calling to the air and she's moving away with him? Like that's the patience game is very, very strong with moose because they also move super slow.
Oh yeah.
So like they can respond to a call and they might be coming in, but it might take them an hour and you're not hearing anything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's closer or whatever, but.
Yeah. What did you feel with any of that, Dad? Like, did you have any experiences in those first days there?
I think it was until it might have been day 4 or 3 when I had my first, as far as hearing them being vocal. But that was, I think it was in the evening. And I think that's when you went to that lower, or that on day 4, you seen the mom and the calf, you went to that lake.
Yeah.
But then, the morning that you ended up killing yours, I did hear a cow calling not too far from me, just prior.
Like doing that in heat call?
Yes, which, I mean, I was only there for only about 10 minutes of daylight, and when your shot rang out, so immediately packed up and knew you're going to need a hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say with the sound of their calling too, they might have been calling those first couple of days, and our ears might have not been tuned for it yet, because it's a very, very low pitch. And again, with the quiet clothing, like when you're sitting there, if you're just like fidgeting around a little bit, moving your shoulders, you might not hear them, especially if they're distant. I mean, I compared it the first time I heard them to Derek. I was telling him, I was like, it sounds like a fly that's coming in, that's going to land on you, then just fades away. Like when they're really distant, just like, like just super quiet and like, so it's, they may have been vocal that first couple days. We just didn't know how to hear them, but
yeah, that's very, very possible. Well, the morning of day 6, so Derek and I had been hunting that island, like I said, for 5 days straight at that point, and decided to still hunt the same crossing, but with the wind and everything and what we'd heard from some moose the night before, decided to hunt back on the south side of it, and where there was a tree stand that was built overlooking this crossing. And so we climbed up in that in the morning, and I mean, it was just breaking light, and we heard a bull grunt from where we were at the day before, or the last 5 days. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Why did I leave? I'm like, just kind of, and so, but I'm like, well, I don't hear a cow. So I did a cow call, and 20 minutes later, I heard some sticks breaking, and it was 10 minutes after legal shooting light opened. All of a sudden, here comes, the bull coming out, and it's like bull, and look through my scope, and he comes out, and I'm like, man, that's a really big bull. And I was like, I do not want to shoot him in water. I was like, that would be a nightmare to get this, 8, I don't know, how do you think they're 800 pounds here?
oh yeah, they're like 1,200.
I don't know if they're that big. 900,000 maybe. They're a little bit small. They're smaller in Alaska, but
Yeah, but I think they're like 1,200 pounds.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, whatever. They're huge animals, and And I'm like, well, he came out of that brush so fast for an animal that moves so slow. Just the time he came out through and hit the water's edge, I was like, man, if he gets to the other side and he starts going up that bank, I'm going to have a half a second and he's gone. And I was like, I've always heard with moose, you got to make sure you put multiple shots into him. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to shoot him while he's in the water here. And I knew from going through there in the canoe that it was only about 2 feet deep. So it wasn't, I had waders. I was like, we'd figure this out. We had a pulley system. We were going to do it. I shot him twice and didn't know that he was going to die right in the spot where I shot him at. I mean, like, and they ended up both being good shots, but he just backflipped right there into the water. And I'm like, oh no, he's going to sink. But it was again not very deep there, so half his head was hanging out in his antlers. I just kept looking through my binos like in disbelief, like, are you kidding me? Like this, but I had a dream ever since I was a kid to hunt moose and and there's a bull, an exceptional bull, especially for the area, laying there in the water. It's the first moose I saw on the trip in 6 days, and I just kept looking like. And the fog was kind of lifting off the lake, and it disappeared for a second. And I'd look, I'm like, is he actually there? And Derek's like, yeah, he's dead. And it was super cool. And then so I was able to communicate with you guys. Kurt InReach messaged you, Dad texted you, and Kurt, before we even climbed out of the tree, because we were just settling. Every time I shoot anything, even if I know he's down, I like to just calm down, take in the moment, don't fall out of the tree climbing down, just be patient. And all of a sudden I hear crashing coming, and Derek's like, I'm pretty sure Bo was going to shoot you, Kurt, when you came out. I didn't know what was coming in. But you came down through and were there right away, and we canoed over to him, and it was the coolest sight to see it. But we're like, what are we going to do? This bull is dead in the water. But I'd like to act like an extremely tough guy, but it was not that hard to get it out.
One thing I'll say is it seems like there was way more talk of how hard it's going to be before actually going up and just because I remember paddling up to it. You're like, this is going to be miserable. I go, let's just grab onto it and see what happens. And I grabbed onto it and it moved and just like started floating across the water. I go, let's just tow it to shore. Yeah. And it literally it was about that easy. Eventually, yeah. I mean, it wasn't just a simple paddle. I mean, you had to kind of like get him moving, then the boat would come back to him, and then eventually we threw a rope to Derek, and Derek pulled the canoe while you were paddling, and I was holding on, dragging it in. But it wasn't that bad. I mean, I could see it being terrible without having a canoe.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
And it was hard to get him from the mucky side of the lake up onto the actual bank of the shore. That was the hardest part.
Yeah, and we used a pulley system for paracord. These really lightweight pulleys. I can't remember who makes them.
Wiser Precision.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Used those, and they worked fantastic. You tied one off to the moose, tied one off to the tree, and then had an anchor point on the moose, ran it through there, and it was... They didn't just do the job for you, but when somebody else was pulling on the antler, keeping the rack off the ground from dragging in the mud, it would keep the momentum you gained, right?
Yep.
So I think those were indispensable for this trip.
Yeah, they worked really well.
Yeah, and I almost bought them before I went to Alaska last time. I waited too long, and they were out of stock. And Kurt, you brought it up again this time and ordered some for all of us. And it was, it's awesome to be able to have.
Total, they weigh 1.5 ounces to carry 2 with you. Yeah. So each of us had 2.
Yep.
I'll keep those in my kill kit from here on out.
Yeah, even for whitetail, anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, 50 foot of paracord in there, and it's just, you're doubling your working load when you're using those pulleys.
And we thought about even putting the rest of ours on there to see how easy it would have been if it would have pulled the whole moose up. You know?
Yeah.
But
that was kind of fun to have that all put together. And by the time you got there, Dad, because you had to go back, hike back to the 4-wheeler, ride around, and then get picked up in the boat to come in.
I came back to the cabin and got waders, got meat saw, got rope, got
the Uncharted raft, all the meat, the meat saw, all that different stuff.
Yeah, and by the time I got there, you guys had somebody picked was it Was it you? Oh, no, Derek.
I picked you up.
You picked me up at the launch site with the canoe, which was still, 900 yards from where you killed him at, or a little further?
Yeah, it was 1,000 yards from that crossing to where you launched the canoe.
Okay. So Kurt picked me up, and then, still couldn't see nothing, then come around the bend, and then could see you guys, and just seeing them antlers sticking up. And when I got out, I just could not believe the size of that animal. I mean, I seen when, our Mom and I went to Alaska on our, seeing some moose close up, which Alaska has big bodied moose and antlered, but this thing was just every bit as big. I just couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm. There's something to the first time you get a new species down on the ground walking up to it, because it's like that's the first time usually you're that close to. I know you see mounts and like Cabela's and stuff, but it's not the same.
No.
It was just kind of amazing to see that on the ground. Like I don't know. Again, just like I said with the rest of moose hunting, everything's slow, so you definitely don't want to like just jump into processing it. You got to be strategic about it and position it right and all that. But
yeah, and I was shocked it was up on dry ground by the time I got there. So I mean, that, like you said, that pulley system attests for itself right there.
When we first texted you to bring stuff in, our initial gear list was way longer, and we backed it off for you once we got all right, we don't need the waders anymore. We don't need the big thick rope that you were going to bring in, and like all this. There were some things that we like. All right, we're good on that. But I think we were very well prepared on. Because that could have been way more difficult if we didn't even have the pulley system, or just like
absolutely
a few little tools, pieces of gear. Could have made it wouldn't have been a bad situation because you still have a moose down, but a tough situation, a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah.
To be able to get them out. And then the next part was the skinning of an animal that big. And, moose meat is arguably the best wild game meat that you could have. And so, trying to get every piece of it, which is like, we haven't figured out yet, but what it's probably going to be when it's boned out, like in the freezer, 400 pounds?
Probably. Yeah, I'd say, I don't know. The figures I saw were like between 300 and 500, they said you'd get per moose, meat-wise, from an Eastern Canadian moose. I don't know if I believe that, but I'm curious to see what it is.
Yeah. It's a lot of meat, whatever it is.
Regardless.
I could not imagine doing that by myself. Like, I know there's some guys... some guys that do it. One guy I want to get on the podcast eventually, named Mike Mitten, traditional bow hunter that goes to Alaska every year. I think he's I don't know if he's in his 60s now or late 50s or something, but he goes solo for like 20 days with his trad bow moose hunting. Jeez. And trying to get like process that by yourself would be absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
Because just even be able to holding up the legs to be able to get it, picking up those hindquarters.
Both me and you have done elk by ourselves.
Yeah.
And this is significantly more than an elk.
Yeah. Which that seemed like the biggest thing in the world to me at the time.
Exactly.
And man, like trying to go through the hide, it doesn't matter what knife you have, it is tough getting through that hide.
Especially right on the shoulders there, where that real long hair is on the back of their neck.
Yeah, it's thick. Thick hide.
Super thick hide. It was crazy to go through all that and get them skinned. I think how long did it take us to do the full processing?
I want to say a couple hours.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite an hour and a half.
I think it was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it was a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. It went well. We all had a system. We made sure we were far enough away, which the animal was large enough where one guy's on the hind quarter, one's on the front shoulder skinning, and the other guy's
getting the neck meat in the head taken care of.
Yeah, but I think we had a good system for then, when ready to remove the quarter, guy lifted it, and another guy kind of,
got the game bags ready.
Yeah, got the game bags ready and cut around and got it separated, and
And we did a gutless method, but then eventually took out the guts.
Yeah, because we took the rib cage and the rib meat, and then it was. I think that was a good move though, doing it that way though, the way we did it.
That's my favorite way to process an animal if you're not gonna like take them out whole, because it like your meat stays so clean doing that. It's not covered in blood. Like we did the first side where we had the front shoulder, back strap, and back ham off of it. And I mean, I looked at my hands, and my hands weren't bloody at all.
No.
Like, it's just such a clean way to do it. And especially if you have, like, a gut shot, too, to avoid that, which we didn't, luckily. But that was, it's just cleaner. I don't know. Because, I mean, when you normally gut them, that first step is going shoulder deep in there, especially on a moose, is shoulder deep and scooping everything out.
Probably waist deep. You go your whole body in there to get up there to get to the esophagus. So we did that. We did the front shoulder, hind quarter, back straps, and then the tenderloins. You could see, back there. We started shaving the outside of the rib meat off. What would you call that?
Flanks.
Is it flank? I don't know.
I don't know the proper term.
Well, we get that, which was a ton of meat. On that.
The stuff that dries up on a whitetail that's like 1/4 inch thick. This is like flaps of meat that could make up. If you grind it like a dozen hamburgers,
and you could reach in there and get then the tenderloins out. We didn't even have to gut it to do that. Then cut the ribs. It took racks of ribs, took those out, which then opens up everything. So the guts are right there. You could grab the heart out.
Yeah, the heart.
Because
the size of that heart.
Oh my gosh,
as big as a paper plate.
Yeah.
And that was delicious too.
Yeah, it was so good.
You did a good job cooking that up.
Yeah, Kurt did a really good job of that. We took the tongue,
which
Kurt cooked that up last night, and that was incredible.
Yeah, that was really good. That was my first time cooking tongue, and it was actually really simple to do too. Boil it for 10 minutes, peel off the outside layer, slice it into like little medallions. I'll go a little thinner next time, I think, but slice it into like little, what you would a tenderloin, and then fry it with some seasoning, and it was really good. Different texture for sure. Like it fights back a little bit, but it's not like tough.
No,
you know what I mean? It's like bouncy, I guess.
Yeah.
I've heard people compare it to bacon, like eating.
It almost like a slice of ham, a thick slice of ham.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
As far as the texture.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was so good. So good. I mean, the flavoring was good. Just everything about it was awesome. I enjoyed that a lot. So yeah, we utilized everything there. But what I wanted to bring up is after my gunshot, you heard a pack of wolves light up.
Oh yeah, immediately within 5-10 seconds after your shot, just howling, like going like crazy. They howled for probably 10 seconds, and then stopped, and then they howled again like a minute later for about 5 seconds. But that was, I was like, wow, they know that dinner bell.
Yeah.
And they said that they've had a lot of trouble with wolves this year.
Yeah.
Further up in their territories, but it was definitely cool to hear.
I know. I wish I would have heard, and I should have been able to, but I think I was just so amped up after the shot.
From my vantage point, I heard, but it was real distance. I knew.
Hey, you thought I was yelling from...
I thought you were yelling like, hey, I got one.
Yeah. That was cool. I did want to, while we brought up about like kind of texting here, I wanted to bring up something that, so there's an absolute zero cell service anywhere here. So there was 2 ways we've been able to communicate while we've been here while we're in the woods. We all would, every time we get somewhere like we do with whitetail hunting, whether we're climbing up in a tree or set up, we just text everyone that we're there, made it safe, everything's good. But if you have an iPhone 14 or newer, you can text via satellite to other iPhone 14s or newer. That does not work across to Android as far as texting and doing that. But so me and Dad had newer iPhones. Kurt's got an old one, so it didn't work. But we were able to text back and forth throughout the day. You just have to aim it at the satellite, and now it makes it easier. You can go right in your settings, turn it on or off.
Yeah.
Which before they didn't have that, and I was hesitant to talk about it or do much on it because it wasn't very reliable. I feel like it's more reliable now.
Definitely compared to when I first released it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was times where I think the longest wait I had was it said next satellite available in 14 minutes, but that was just one time. Usually it was a couple minutes if there wasn't one available right away as soon as you went to connect. But yeah, a typical wait time might be 2 or 3 minutes, before you can send out, and then if you couldn't get a clear view of the sky with that one, you had to wait for another one that might come through when a couple minutes later.
Yeah, and you do need a relatively clear view of the sky. If you're in heavy timber, it doesn't really work well. It says to get a better view, so that is one downfall of it. But it's free; you don't have to pay a subscription for it, which is really cool. But with that said, I'm still going to carry my InReach for
I had mine with me as
for
well.
the foreseeable future, unless it gets a ton better, more reliable, and you can reach other people via using it. Because InReaches are, they did lower their plans since this came out, but unlimited text is $50 a month. So, but you can turn it on or off whenever. So, like, you can do it just for your hunt, essentially. And but it just works. I mean, you can do it. You were doing it while we were driving in a vehicle. You can do it in thick timber. It seems to hit satellites. I think it bounces off of more satellites to be able to work. It's got the SOS safety feature built into it. So InReaches, I'm not saying that those should be disabled or out of your kit, but I think knowing about the satellite and the iPhone is good.
In these types of situations, becoming the secondary means of communication as opposed to the primary.
Yeah. Yep. Other than, like I said, with you, since your iPhone doesn't have it where you can update to that, where you have the satellite texting ability. So, we just, respond with InReach back and forth.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's how we were communicating there, making sure everyone was safe, got in, or we had something down, which we could hear the gunshots clear as day.
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious who shot at that point, but
Yeah.
but yeah, that was really awesome to canoe out, all the meat, and we were able to get. So I have a 2003 Honda Rancher 350 that I bought off my grandfather, and got it fixed up. Literally, this is the first actual trip I've used it on. I haven't ridden it much at all, so I was a little bit concerned. But man, that thing's been a workhorse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has. It has its little nuances, but it works.
Yeah.
I did that one load of meat. I had all 4 quarters on it coming down that path, and she was squatting a little bit, but she did good.
Yeah, that was a smart move bringing that, help getting that meat out.
Yeah,
That'd have been a job without it.
Yep.
Yeah, it would 100% would have been a job without it, and honestly, we probably, if we had 2 4-wheelers, that would be even better.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
We said I think 2 would be ideal.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't really need to use the truck much at all.
Yep.
And it's like we've also talked about, we're not really using it to get closer into the stands or anything because we're worried about spooking them or doing anything there.
Every stand we hunted, we could have drove right to it, but we elected not to.
Yeah.
I mean, even parking a mile away on some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a mile and a half. A couple of those.
Yeah, a mile and a half to that back leg.
Yeah.
So, but for taking things out, we got super lucky, and we'll talk about yours here in a few minutes, Dad. But we got really lucky where both of our moose was skin them out there, load them up in a boat, load them in a raft, take them down the lake. As soon as we get to the lake shore, the 4-wheeler sitting there, load up the racks, strap everything down, drive it out to the truck bed, and
and that's another case like how we use that 4-wheeler. You didn't have that 4-wheeler parked there at the canoe launch. You weren't taking it in the morning.
No,
you're driving to the bottom of the road, hiking in that mile to the canoe launch. But once we got something down, we had a path that we could drive the 4-wheeler up to get the stuff, which made it so much easier.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, none of us had to put any meat except the head that you did.
Yeah.
In our packs, which was
and I didn't even need. We had the 4-wheeler loaded down, and I just wanted to have the head on my pack.
Oh yeah, you have
to carry it out. It just felt so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
To have that there. But yeah, that was a really helpful tool to be able to have. But that gave us I mean, that gave us so much boost and confidence of like just sitting in places and knowing that things might actually happen. They might come into the open for a split second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You definitely wonder if it's even possible. You start questioning yourself. You're like, do they even need water this time of year? Like, what?
It is like a drought. It was a drought. you know?
Yeah.
So that was pretty crazy. But and then after that, I mean, you guys had solid action
We did.
for the next week.
Yeah.
I mean, until he got his every day.
It was always seemed like though it was a hot cow with a bull on her, and just, like Kurt had mentioned, if you did too many cow calls, she's just taking them away from you. So, but so it almost seemed like it was hopeless when they were.
Yeah.
You're not going to pull him off of her, at least from our experience, limited experience that we have. But I'm sure there's people out there that can do it and know the tricks of the trade to do it. And as time comes, and hopefully we figure that out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you love to. I loved it when they were with cows, or when he was with a cow or a bull was with a cow, because they were just so vocal. So that part was exciting.
Yeah, because you knew they were there.
It was just like such a tease because you couldn't.
Yeah.
Like you're like, you're not going to get in there. I mean, until we crack that code, it's pretty challenging to get excited now.
I mean, it's the same even with bull, elk. Or I remember when I was hunting in Montana a few years ago, and I was hunting that giant herd, and that herd bull had 50 cows with him all the time, and he would bed with those cows around him, and it was like I felt like I was in close every day, and I was like, "There's no way this is ever going to work." But just keep doing that thing. Eventually, they make a little mistake that opens up a window for an opportunity, and I almost think that's kind of the case for them. Although we do have kind of other than maybe they might slip up a few times, but I think some of those bigger bulls are going to get killed in that timber.
Unfortunately, I think those are a hard one to get on the lakes, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, obviously I did, but it was at a crossing, and he was in between cows, and it's just like, it's kind of like a whitetail. There's a few days a year where they're super vulnerable. Even a big old mature buck that you can, if you hit it right, you can capitalize. So I got lucky there.
Yeah, I mean, and the mature bulls are here because like you can see the tracks, and in some cases you might be calling out a lake, and you go there the next morning, and there's tracks there from the night before. So it's like they're active, they're just not showing themselves. They're just like a whitetail.
But, with your strategy, though, it was just a matter of time. You weren't giving up on that crossing area.
Yeah.
And that's your patience that you learned from whitetail hunting definitely paid off in this game.
Yeah. And
without a doubt.
And it's crazy because, like, for some reason with elk hunting, I can't sit in there. I want to go. I want to move. And for whatever reason, because I do it so much during whitetail, but for whatever reason, I was very content with just.
I think it's the lakes.
The lakes are.
I mean, it's just like when you're sitting there, there's like no better place on earth to just sit and watch.
Just the colors, the foliage.
Yeah, because it's peak fall colors. Yeah. I mean, you have otters swimming by, beavers, ducks landing left and right,
fish jumping everywhere.
Yeah, it's when you're like
on my lake. You guys didn't have that.
We didn't experience that.
But it's just like. I don't know. It's just and it feels super remote. It is super remote. It's just a cool experience all around. Like, yeah, I don't know. I could definitely sit. I could sit all day.
And you're not normally a person who likes to sit.
I like to explore. I like to walk.
And we had done that the first week.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking. It's just like, I go on a hunt, even though I went elk hunting with you guys, a couple of times out west, you find a wallow, if you sat there for 10 days, you're going to kill or have a chance of probably at killing a bull.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much country to see. And the same with here. Get here, it's like, sitting over to that lake the first morning, it's like, well, what's over that?
Yeah,
see that lake on the map. So what's that
over
lake
there?
Look
like?
Yeah.
But we satisfied, and it was good that the territory was only as large as we were, because we covered most of it in that first week and got that bug out of us. But also, the other thing
you learned a lot, too.
Learning where they were, where they weren't because of the weather conditions, how dry it's been, and eliminate a ton of area that helped us zone in on it and confirmed what you were doing was the way what we needed to do to be on them lakes or those crossings.
Yeah. No, that it and you don't know what you don't know until you start experiencing it. And I think the combination of us doing what we both did that were opposite at the beginning helped us learn and that was our strategy kind of coming in, was just like, let's feel it out and let them teach us
Yeah.
whether it's sign, whether it's focals, all that, and then adapting based off of that, which was really cool. And it's funny so every day, canoeing into that which was really cool. Going in the dark and going through. And at first, the beavers would scare the crap out of us, slapping their tails when you get close. And you're going in the dark, and it's foggy and going through there. And I remember the one morning. It was the morning I killed my bull. Actually, we were going in, and I was like, Derek, man, I feel like we're just, or no, I didn't say this to him. I was thinking in my head, I was like, we're one with the lake. Like, these beavers know us every day coming in. They're not even, and we got to a point, and then it just turned into a symphony. It was just like, just slapping. I mean, more than we had any other day. I was like, all right, that is not true. They still don't want us here. And it was funny.
Every time a beaver swims by, I'm just like, don't slap your tail, because even when I see it coming, it still scares the crap out of me.
They come in and they circle in front of you for a while, and just when you think they're going to go away, whoop,
they're side eyeing you.
Yeah.
Those blockheads of theirs are flat blockheads.
Yeah, you said it looked like a rattlesnake's head.
Yeah, they're just these big floating triangles.
But a few days later in that hunt, you guys were hunting. You guys started having some more action at that upper back lake on the property, and I came in. Did I come in midday? No, because I wasn't. Or me and Kurt came in because you had the action, Dad, right?
Yeah, I had the action in the morning, and then there was a cow with a bull, and kind of dropped a pin where I thought they were, and then you guys came in early afternoon, and we kind of just played it cool and sat at sat with me till almost wasn't till 4. I think we decided to make the move on them. And what Kurt and I had done was we would take a day where, like Kurt had mentioned, in the morning we both took a lake to sit over. But then when we moved, it's like, okay, you're the shooter today. When we're moving together, and that person would go first if we had an encounter.
And that person also got to pick what lake they wanted to sit at in the morning and evening.
Yeah, and primary decision maker.
Yep. So then. And that's why I brought Kurt up to that lake that afternoon. He's leading, heading up to where I dropped the pin, where we actually heard it go off a couple times. Just like, I think it was like at 1:30, it left loose once, and then again at we
were taking a
3:30.
nap, and it woke Kurt up.
Yeah, it woke me up.
Yeah,
it was a good nap too. Really good nap.
So we kind of confirmed the location. And you can take it from here because you were leading through, and you had what your plan was and your encounter you had there.
Yeah. So we kind of pinpointed where he was, and I'll say where we dropped that pin and where he actually was. We were only off by like 30 or 40 yards, and that was I dropped that pin 900 yards. Actually, no, you dropped the pin 900 yards away. And we were within 30 yards of it. So
I brought the map up and trying to figure, based off of our scouting or hunting the week prior, where we were finding the beds.
Yeah.
And where we weren't finding the beds. And looking at that map and saying, yeah, I think this is where the sound's coming from. Likely he's going to be bedded here. And sure enough. And
it was another one of those things of like, we amped ourselves up thinking it was going to be the worst thing in the world to get up there because it's so thick. And then we just found a path, and it wasn't too bad.
No, it actually was more open than I expected.
But the key thing there is we left our packs at the stand.
Yeah.
So we were able to move quiet. And another thing, because I rely on hearing so much when I'm hunting, we spread out like 20 yards apart walking through, and that was nice enough that was far enough away that you guys walking in the leaves didn't affect my hearing as far as if something like a stick broke out in front of me or whatever like that. But we snuck up, took this ridge line, figured out where they were based on the wind, and we just moved to within 250 yards of where we had dropped the pin. We hadn't heard them since then yet, and we just sat down against a tree and sat for an hour. And once that hour was up, or it might have been about 45 minutes, once that was up, we moved 70 yards closer to that, to right looking over that ridge. And when I say looking over, again, it's so thick you can't really see down to the bottom, but you imagine you can. And as soon as we sat down there, I heard him go off.
And confirmed
exactly where he was at.
At that point in time, we still weren't sure that exactly where they're going to be in there.
Exactly. And at one point, we heard a cow go off. And Dad goes, "There's that bull." And then me and Bo look at each other. We're like, "Are we chasing the cow and two calves?" And then the bull sounded off. We're like, "Okay, all right."
Well, I knew the bull call was coming after.
So at that point, you guys I went ahead on my own trying to get close to him. And I mean, I could hear him moving ahead of me. He was grunting like crazy, all of that. And then I kind of signaled to you guys to kind of parallel me on the ridge in case they escaped out that way. But I got in. They were quiet. I found where they were bedded. I found the beds, took a picture of it. Huge beds. Found a fresh rub. All the tracks, and they were nowhere to be seen. I didn't hear them. I don't think they winded me. But if they did, they didn't make any sound leaving. But yeah, it was... It's just like, I thought it was one of those moments, again, your heart rate's pounding because you're like, every bush that you go around could be the moose behind it. And you're just like excited, like, this is it. I'm going to get one. Like, I'm going to pop around here and this bull's going to be standing there broadside. Perfect. Nothing in the way. It's going to be like, that's what's going through your head. But,
and I got to say that if it would have been me that was in charge, I don't think I would have pushed after, which I think was the right decision after us doing it. But I was worried after my experience of being in there. I was like, this isn't possible. Let's wait till the next morning, try to hear them again, move on them while they're moving, potentially be able to intersect them. And then also when, how me and you looked at Dad, when, we heard the cow and thought that maybe that's all it was a cow. Me and Dad looked at each other when you asked about splitting up, 20 yards for the sound. We're like, what the heck? It actually did work really well.
Yeah. Well, we only left you get about 10 yards ahead because if you went any further, you were out of sight in the brush.
True.
And we'd lose. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to find you. So we kind of strung out, and that was a smart move.
No, that worked really, really good to go through and walking instead of going heel to toe like a human would going through. We walk kind of flat.
Well, and you kind of
going through it.
And the way I picture it, and this may sound stupid, but it seemed like it works in my head. It gives me confidence. That's what matters. Is you kind of make your steps slow, like you picture a big bull moose just kind of walking through the timber, and and keeping that steady pace as opposed to because that doesn't sound like something that sounds predatory. Probably
or a squirrel.
Them. Or squirrel. Yeah, that's what you said. You're like, you either have to walk with that pace, or you just have to.
Well, and we also, another condition that was in our favor, which is like, again, whitetail hunting on the ground, was the wind. We had strong wind. I mean, I don't think they were hearing us anyways, getting in there, even with good hearing, because the wind was so strong.
Yeah.
But me and Dad, when you were up ahead, we kept looking, watching that sun. We're like, as soon as that sun drops over that hill,
it's going
to be still. It's just going to be thermals pulling down. I was like, we're going to be screwed if you're not there. And you got there before that happened, but it did happen at the end of the night. It went from 20-mile-per-hour winds to nothing.
And it happened every single night.
Every single evening.
As soon as the sun crested the horizon, or crested the tree line, the wind would cut, from 20 miles an hour to 0.
Yep. It was, I thought that was going to happen. Like, I mean,
But that cold front was moving in, so the wind kept up for a lot later.
It did.
It did keep up, probably a good half hour later or 45 minutes later than it normally would have.
But when you were moving in on them, I was like, this is going to happen because they were sounding off so close. And then when you didn't hear him for a while, I was like, oh, did he booger him up or what happened? But I don't know. But you did say after, but they had already been gone at that point because you found their beds. But they're bedded there for a reason because that wind. I don't know if you could have got in on them, just waiting for them to move because you get down there like a little bit of a bottom, almost like a thermal hub, basically, where the wind comes down and just swirls in there.
In the bottom, in these like bottoms, they would be on each edge of the bottom. There'd be like super thick feed for them, but impossible to get through without making noise. And then in the middle, it seemed like there would always be heavy pines with just moss covered ground. So super quiet, and then the beds were in the moss too. So I mean, and the wind, I'm guessing the wind's swirling in there, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Like milkweed helps, but only for as far as it'll go, right? I don't know. But either way, it was fun. And I know, like, as soon as I walked in there and I was in a kind of open area when I found the beds and I looked around, I'm like, I don't see anything. I don't know what the wind's about to do, so I'm just going to back out of here because I don't want to push too far or push too hard and, one, blow them out, and then two, get completely lost.
Yeah. I guess we can talk about it a little bit now. This is a gear thing I was going to bring up later, but since this is a good topic of it, we had to drop our packs and go in. So we were carrying all, meat hauling type packs. Now mine, I had the EXO K4 2200, so smaller pack, but still, it's got the Cordura on the outside. It's loud when you're going through these sticks and stuff and going through, so I couldn't carry that. You guys both had Kafarus, same thing, loud, going through. Having something either like a hip pack or a real small backpack that would go on, or just
to carry water, a snack, and I don't know.
Definitely something to carry water.
Yeah, definitely something.
Yeah, we got caught a few times. We're only going to go a little bit, and then hours later, your pack's back where you started, and you're thirsty.
Yeah,
yeah. And so on that one, I made a buy by using my bino harness as like a little toolkit of extra stuff in there, which I always do keep my headlamp in the pouch on the left side, my rangefinder's on the right side, keep my headlamp in there, and extra ammo. But that's because you don't know if you're going to be, you might say, I'm only go here for an hour, and then you could be stuck there till dark and trying to find your way back. And I had that little collapsible 1 liter platypus bottle that I shoved in my orange vest behind the bino harness, and it held there, so I had a little bit of water to...
That's what I started doing with the same collapsible one. I'd fill it about a third of the way and then flatten it out, get all the air out of it, and it would pack up nice enough to go into that orange vest pocket.
Yeah, just to go through. But that's definitely something in future years of doing this. And you brought it up, which would be a perfect pack, but it wouldn't be as good for the rest of the hunting, was that Sika Fanatic pack.
Yeah,
all Berber fleece, super quiet, no noise.
I will be bringing that next time.
Yeah. I think that would be...
I think I'd hold, just hold your water, your snacks, and your basic kill kit and first aid kit.
Yep.
Because essentially this hunt, like with the amount of gear we were taking, essentially this hunt was the equivalent of a backpack hunt without the sleeping in a tent and having to carry your camp. Because you're cooking dehydrated meals all day, every day. You have all that same survival equipment. You have your kill kits, all that kind of stuff. So it was like backpack hunting, but all the fun parts.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to do the dehydrated
No,
meals.
we didn't.
We could have brought enough food, and you could have came in and ate. I mean, as far as convenience, but
it makes planning for food a lot easier.
Yeah, but we elected to stay out all day, and wanted to not have to leave.
I don't think I would do that part any different either.
No, I wouldn't either.
No, I think, what we learned was very rarely was there action in the middle of the day, but a few times we did hear bulls and stuff and have things going in the middle of the day. So it's like, okay, you come back to camp for an hour. You got an hour hike out or whatever, drive back to camp for what? You could just take all your stuff, take a nap on the hill by the lake, wherever you're at, take a nap for a few hours. Did a lot of napping on this trip.
I had some phenomenal naps this trip.
Incredible, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't, we had some mosquitoes, the gnats. At different times, but didn't have to worry about ticks.
Yeah, that was nice.
I don't think they exist up this far north. I don't know, but at least not yet. But just see ants occasionally. But yeah, I had no problem just laying on the ground and no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, it was great. Some great napping abilities there.
Yeah.
after that, so you guys had went to a different spot, a couple of different lakes they hadn't sat at yet because it was going to be pouring down rain.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I had scouted it while you guys were hunting a different area. It was a completely different side of the property. And I went in scouting it while you guys were hunting after I filled my tag to try to find sign. I found one bull track next to the blind that you ended up sitting in, Dad. And you guys were like, hey, these are fully enclosed, like, hunting shacks that people built.
Yeah, windows and all that kind of stuff.
And so it was
Carpet on the floor to keep quiet.
That was nice.
That was a good addition.
Yeah, and on while I was out there, I took your little 22 410 Savage 24, and I shot a grouse. And it was funny though because the rest of the trip, I couldn't go without almost kicking a grouse everywhere. And then when I took the gun, like I struggled finding them.
Yeah.
But I did get one, and you shot one that day, and we cooked it up, which was great.
Yeah, grouse is phenomenal.
So good that
There's so many grouse here. It's unreal.
Oh yeah.
Like that, the one day that I went out and got one to eat lunch there, it was like 85 degrees or something. It was just too hot to be out. Like we were just sweating, bugs were killing us, all that. So I was like, I'm going to go see if I can get a grouse. I hopped on the 4-wheeler. I made it 250 yards from camp, got off the 4-wheeler, shot one with the 22, was back at camp in 10 minutes and had them frying up on the stove. Like it was a great way to spend lunch. But
yeah, I think that was that was the only time we came in.
That was the only time we came in midday.
Yeah. And, but anyways, you guys went and sat that in the rain, and really it was just like, okay, have a spot where you're not getting completely soaked, but not really expecting a lot because you couldn't hear, but thinking, hey, at least we're going to be in the action. And you guys had,
we had a great day.
Great day.
Yeah, it's one of my best days. It's the first time I seen the moose. I was sitting there, and the lake I was sitting over, I ranged everything, and so I knew if I seen a moose where I needed to be as far as using my scope. And the farthest across the lake was like 450, 500, the farthest point. And which we talked later is like, I don't feel comfortable shooting that distance, at least not right now. So I wouldn't even entertain shooting at that distance. But then it wasn't that where the moose came out.
Yeah.
And, as far as I could tell, it wasn't a big bull. It looked like a big cow, but it came out, and it was within 3 seconds, it had entered the water, swam across the lake, and actually swam, furthest away, and it was gone within probably 15 seconds, all that, 20 seconds at max. And I did put my scope on it. I should have just threw my binos up and had a better look at it, but yeah, that was the first time I laid eyes on a moose, and with all the encounters, or at least the sound encounters we had up until that point, it was nice to see one. Mm-hmm. And besides the one you had killed, but that was my morning there, and that just got me stoked. And it's like now it's like I'm not napping. It's not. I'm not going to nap. Because it was rainy and it was overcast, so and cooler. The cold front had come in, so anything, in my mind, anything can happen at any time during the day.
Yeah, and it was loud enough that if you weren't awake, you were going to miss it.
Yes,
like the rain was.
And you did have action.
Yeah,
throughout the whole.
Pretty much
up
the whole
until
day.
The mid-afternoon.
From like 10 to 3, 10 to 2, I had action at my lake. Which I heard a cow and bulls going off again. And I think it was the same herd that we were on the day before, and they moved down that way. Then I heard a lot of sticks breaking. I started calling, and 10, 20 minutes later, the sticks be breaking, heading downwind basically. And then again, 10, 20 minutes later, it was almost to the point where it was downwind, and then it just never made another sound. I don't think that they winded me again, because the wind was basically, if he was circling around, he would have had to cross the bottom of the beaver dam, which is definitely like a crossing the way it looks. And there's no way I wouldn't have seen him unless he crossed farther down the hill, but that was 120 yards away from me. So I feel like that would have been well within where he would have crossed downwind. But yeah, I never heard him after that. So, but it was, again, one of those things where rifles up and like you're just those sticks are breaking. You're like, he's coming out right now. Like, this is going to happen right now.
Mhm.
You know, all the things you tell yourself to calm yourself down
Yeah.
Yeah.
to shoot, like, oh my God, it's happening. Where's this happening? Like this, and then you could get the adrenaline dump, and then it was it's a busy day. A busy day for nothing happening.
Yeah.
As far as nothing ended up happening.
Yeah,
but-
well, you even, I think you heard the hot cow and the bull that we were after for
yeah, that's it.
several
Right
days ahead.
before that,
Yeah, so it kind of helped
us
us
triangulating.
plan for the following day's plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because then, so again, we got back at night. And we're looking at the maps on the computer and like all the places where we've seen bulls, mostly heard them, and it was like this general area just kept going back to the island that I'd been hunting. Of like, I think we need to go back there, even though my carcass was still there, but all of the animals and birds and bald eagles and turkey vultures and crows and ravens, just like they had that thing picked clean. So we're like, all right, let's go back in there. So me and Dad went there, and you went to the small lake where there's been a ton of action all week there. So we paddled in. Dad got to see Moose Island there and check it out, but not for very long.
No, that was a short trip,
Yeah,
but a long day.
Yeah, so to talk about it a little bit, that was yesterday. That would have been day 12.
Yeah, so we arrived on the island in the dark and got set up, and we were only there. I think it might have been 20 minutes before it started getting light. But I waited till about 10 minutes after it got light. It was a strong north wind hitting us in the face. I'm thinking, well, my sound, my calls aren't very loud. I need to get the megaphone or the horn to amplify it, which I wasn't prepared for that. But so I thought, well, it's been about 10 minutes of daylight now. I'm going to go ahead and try some calls. And thinking it's not going to reach nothing, and looked at the clock. Actually, I think it was 10 after 7 or 8 minutes after 7 when I did my call sequence, and waited and thought, come 7:30, I'll have Bo give a call. His calls are louder. And I think it was actually 7:25. I looked at my watch. I thought, I'm just going to have him sound off now. So I asked Bo to do some calling sequences for me, and within 5 minutes, we heard sticks breaking off to the right. And pretty soon, I'm kind of looking out over there, and I'm also scouting the rest of the lake, and I hear Bo, there's a cow out, or I don't know how you said, there's a moose there.
Yeah, there's a moose. Yeah.
Standing right, and I look over, and it's standing right at the shoreline, like looking straight at the island. And that was only, 70, 80, 90 yards?
No, it was about 120.
Was it about 100? Okay. And staring right at us. And I think it might be a cow. Well, I threw my scope up, and it's like, and I seen the horns, and I said, no, it's a bull. I said, I'm taking them. And it's like, it's a frontal, and then it's like, just wait, which had waiting for him to turn broadside. So I was on your shooting stick. I had to reposition, but I wasn't real steady because I wasn't expecting him to come on that side. But and so I get set up, and I got the scope on him, and it's going, and it's going. It's like, man, I got to calm down here, waiting for him to turn broadside. And sure enough, he entered probably knee-deep water, and then he started walking the shoreline slightly. And it's like, okay, so fire went off, and it's a hit. And doesn't he turn and just enter the water and started swimming right towards us on the island? I'm thinking, geez, if that was a fatal, he's gonna sink. I don't know how deep that lake is, but it got to be pretty dang deep. And it's just like, start swimming towards us. It's like, what are we gonna do? And it probably got about 50 yards. It was about halfway, not quite halfway to us. And then all of a sudden it turns and starts swimming back in the shore. I think it realized it was hurt, and started heading back and swimming back in. And so I got ready for the follow-up shot. And as soon as he started exiting the water, I put 2 more into him, and until he dropped.
Yep.
But so that was. It just happened so fast, which all the hunts end up that way. Is you put in days and hours in our case, weeks of time, and it's within 30 seconds, a minute, that's when the action is.
Yeah.
And you got to, even shorter than that in most cases. But, yeah, it was surreal. It's just like, I couldn't believe it just happened. And yeah, it was.
Yeah. And you put a perfect shot on the first one too, because like when he was coming out of the water, I could see him coughing. Like, it was like, okay, got in the lungs on that. And then when we took it apart, we couldn't eat the heart because you ended up destroying that.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, they were all, good shots in there, and it was, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. It was like I said, it was a surreal experience. It was.
Yeah. So we got it right there. Hold it up. What do they call them?
The slingshot.
Slingshots.
But we do have a sticker point that's busted off that
Who knows
I figured it might have been like 2 feet. And I think mine would have been wider than yours, in the real realm of things.
Yeah, there's a good chance that was a 50, 60-inch moose before that sticker broke off.
He's on his way downhill.
Yeah, we were joking. It's probably a 15-year-old moose going downhill, and
even his hooves and body shrunk.
Yeah, he's probably a year and a half.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
How to age moose?
Buck moose.
Buck, yeah. So like one thing that they told us when we came here is funny because we're like not sure of expectations and stuff there, and they're like, you don't pass on bulls.
Yeah. We're trying to gauge, what can we expect to see? Should we hold out for a decent moose or shoot the first bull? Oh, you want to shoot the first bull that you see.
Yeah. This isn't managed for trophy.
Yeah.
And honestly, they said they don't get super wide ones here because the bush is so thick, which makes sense. I don't know how they'd get through.
Yeah.
Get through here. Like mine was 37 inches wide, and by like Alaska standards, that's small, but for here, that's a really big bull.
Yeah, and when I saw yours the first time, I was like, I got super excited because I was like, I didn't realize one this big lived here.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Like I just didn't expect it. So it's like it's good to know, and I think those are the ones, like you said, that you're gonna have to go into the timber to get.
Yeah.
And
I don't have mine here to show on the camera here at the table because we have it up there at the meat cooler, which the outfitter's place is about an hour north, so that's where it's at now. But yeah, when you shot that, Dad, I was so excited. It was incredible and it had a message, Kurt's in reach, that said sounded like a hit.
Yeah, as soon as that first shot went off, because I was on that lake up above you, as soon as that first shot went off, it sounded like a hit, like that double thing. I was sitting up against a tree watching the lake. As soon as that first shot went off, I took my rifle off my lap, set it on the tree, got up, and started packing everything up. I was like, it's done. We got him. Yeah. And I didn't even wait for you to respond. I had everything packed up, and I was headed up over the hill because I was like, I got to go help pack out. Got to get out there. Because I'm the opposite of you. When I kill something or somebody else kills something that I'm with, I don't like to just sit there and wait. Like, I want to get to that animal as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's not like, it's just because I don't know, I just want to see it. I just want to, all that kind of stuff. But, I was so excited.
Well, after mine did drop, and it did drop in the water.
Yeah, again.
And, it's kicking around and that, and I'm telling Bo, I said, we got to get over there. We got to get over there. We got to make sure it doesn't get out in deep and sink. And I don't know if they will sink or not. I've heard, I listened to a podcast there before we come up, and there was one where they lost one in a lake because they believed it had sunk.
But you can't trust podcasts. They'll say
They'll say whatever they want you to hear.
But, I mean, maybe that wasn't a concern, but I was very concerned. And then Bo's like, Dad, it's still kicking around. We just got to stay away, give it time, and yeah, and it would by the time I got there, it was definitely would have been expired anyways if we'd have left right then. Because it was a little bit of a job to get.
I don't think it was really even kicking her out. I think it was just and maybe some nerve. I mean, that thing was dead. He was dead immediately.
Oh yeah.
But it and luckily the wind was blowing it in a way that it wasn't going to float out into the lake too, because the wind was blowing it towards the shore, and it stayed there. But we did have to get the canoe again, and we ended up towing it like 80 yards down that bank.
Yeah, so we got it to a nice landing that we thought would be. We got out. We the first spot we checked. We didn't like. We went down about another 30, 40 yards, and then made the plan to get him up on shore like you did yours. And in the meantime, Kurt's on his way. We had sent him messages what we thought we needed, and he came out. You went down and picked him up in the canoe, and by then I had the pulley system hooked up to him. I did attempt to pull him up just to see if I could do it, pulling on the paracord and his horns at the same time, but it was a little difficult. I moved them a little bit. They're such an incredible animal size, and just magnificent to see when they're it was
a perfect morning. I mean, it ended up raining on us. It wasn't supposed to rain. We hadn't got really much rain other than that day before, but it was raining. But we had all day. It was cold. High was 45 yesterday.
Something we kept saying. We're like, we're not in a hurry. We got all day, and then that's literally. I think that one probably took us a little longer than yours did.
Yeah,
but it wasn't for any particular reason. Just
we were just taking our time. And mine was
meals.
Heating up. It was colder first thing in the morning on mine, but it got hotter faster, so we had to get the meat taken care of.
I will
quicker.
say too, with moose dying in water, the one benefit to that is their body cools down super quick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I mean that lake wasn't ice cold, but it's definitely. I mean, when you get meat spoilage, it's that heat from the bone most of the time, and it's like when you get it cooled down that quick right after they die, like you're not. I mean, when we were skinning it and everything, it wasn't like normally you're cutting in some of the blood's really hot, stuff like that. It wasn't like that. Like it was cooled down nice, so that helps a ton with that. If you have to find a pro to kill one in the water, that's one.
That's the only way we know how, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's.
But that was great.
You could say we only shoot moose in the water
because we did. Coming back and enjoying the rest of the day. We had a fire since everything was wet around. We felt safe to have a fire and just enjoyed it. And Kurt cooked up the tongue for my bowl and everything. And we're gonna have some of the tenderloins from yours tonight. It's our last day here in camp. We decided we weren't gonna run out of here and head back home right away. Just enjoy the day, get our stuff cleaned up. It was super cold, so we didn't even take the meat up to the freezer. It got down to 25 last night. It was freezing in here. But it was terribly cold. Actually, our water lines froze this morning, so we didn't have any water until everything thawed out and you fixed the pump, Dad. But it's been awesome. This is one of the most fun hunts that I've done, and I wasn't really expecting that.
Yeah.
I was like, it'll be fun to get to go with you guys and be here at camp and stuff, but like I didn't expect the hunt to be that enjoyable as it was.
Same. And that was the whole reason when going back to your first question on like what made me want to do this, I am like I have a different mindset than like you guys where you find something and get really good at it. Like I just want to experience as much wide across the board as I can, and for me that's different species and all that, and moose has always been on that list. And I'm like, I always wanted to do an Alaskan moose hunt, but I'm like, I should probably see if I even like moose hunting before I save up a ton of money to go to Alaska, because I might get up there and be like, this sucks. I don't want to do this. And like being here, it's just like, moose hunting's a lot of fun, a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be what we were doing, pounding the brush the first day. I thought that's what every day was going to be, and I was a little bit concerned, but I was like, hey, you got to do it once to learn it, experience it. But this is a great hunt. I'm very happy with it. It's cool too now that since it is relatively affordable and we're locked in, we can, if we wanted to make this an annual trip, we could. Like that's, and I know us two will at least be back next year, because our agreement was, since you two person per tag, like we said, whoever killed one, the other person was committing to the next year with them too. So next year we'll come back up and try to get me a bull.
I'll basically buy a tag to put on his bull.
Yeah, we'll see. You guys split up for him to do some scouting and a 45-incher walks out.
Exactly.
You
sorry,
better not let me take a gun.
I don't know. I think I think old Moose Island's going to get a workout next year too.
Yeah, we already got the chairs and everything built there.
I think that's the play, and I think you can do a tote of equipment out there and make a nice, comfy tarp hanging and everything. Like make it almost a blind.
Yeah, I think you could. You hang a tarp up over top of. Honestly, though, like you didn't need it unless it's raining. If it's raining, that you definitely would want it. But it doesn't get too hot because it's on a little of a north slope there. You don't ever really get sun there. It does get a little chilly as things are because the wind, especially on north wind, blowing right in your face across the lake. But yeah, it was good. So I did want to transition a little bit and talk about some of the gear stuff we use. I have some notes, kind of what worked, what didn't, opportunities, improvement. This is just as much for anyone listening as for ourselves to remember for next year of kind of planning with it. So, how do you guys feel about, rifle setups, everything there?
Yeah, rifle setup. My rifle setup was perfect for this, honestly. It's one that I custom built, a 270 on an old G33 40 Mauser action wood stock. It did like the parts where it shined is I have a 2.5 to 8 power scope on it, but that range of scope power, like the 2 to 10 Maven one, is another great one, which I think both of you guys had, or no, you have a bigger one.
Yeah.
But that range of scope is absolutely ideal for out here.
Mm-hmm.
Like that 2 power and just remembering to change it when you're going through brush, stuff like that. But I was using the 270. I know it's not something that has a PRC behind it, so people don't get excited about it, but it's still a known killer. But with using the Barnes bullet, that TTSX, I've killed probably 15, 16 animals with that bullet, and of all different sizes and stuff like that. I have full confidence in that, and as we saw it on both of you guys using the same bullet, it worked great.
Yeah.
But yeah, for my rifle setup, the only thing I might change is, because I want to build another one anyway, so it's just an excuse to do it. But I might do in a synthetic stock next year, because beating the brush was winced a little bit every time it would get a new dent or ding in it, But
you'd mentioned it because you were the one, and again, anyone listening, you probably heard the ads for Barnes on here, but I've been using Barnes for a long time before they sponsored this because of you. Mm-hmm. You're the one that you and Uncle Al were the ones that talked about it so much, and the limited meat loss, where even when you hit him in the shoulder, Dad, you hit him in the shoulder a couple of the times. I hit him once in the shoulder, and there's just a small spot around it that's bloodshot that you have to cut out. Mm-hmm.
Well, what you're getting with those Barnes is consistency too. You know what that bullet's going to do even when you hit that shoulder blade. Like, it's not going to act erratic or whatever. And for yours, that was the first one I've ever recovered out of an animal, so I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and it was fully intact.
Yep, I have it in my pack. I'm going to weigh it when I get home to get some data points on it. But basically, it went in. That was the one you punched through the front shoulder.
Yeah, the second shot.
Went through, all the way through the body, and then skated down the hide about 6-8 inches and stopped there. So it didn't have enough to exit out on the other side, but I mean at that point it probably traveled 36-40 inches,
Yeah.
That's what more do you want for that kind of thing?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I was super happy with my setup for rifle wise. I don't know what about you, Dad?
Yeah, well my setup, I had that the CVA Cascade 30-06 and had the Maven 2 to 10 scope on it. I have no complaints whatsoever, and the Barnes bullet, I mean, it performed flawlessly for me. For me, though, what I will do different next year was, we all sighted the guns in out to 100 yards, because I wasn't expecting to be able to potentially shoot over a couple hundred yards. We sighted in mine 1.7 inches high at 100, which would put me dead on at 200, and theoretically, I think it was 7.5 inches low at 300. However, I didn't prove that out. Mm-hmm. So my confidence to shoot anything over 200 yards or probably 250 was low. So my, sitting on these lakes and ranging is like, that's out of my range just because my confidence level. The gun can do it. I just got to prove that it can do it. I got to have that confidence to make that shot. So I have to go to the range and shoot at these distances prior to the next trip out here, and just to get my confidence level. And so that's the only thing I would change with my setup as far as my rifle is my shooting ability, confidence.
Yeah, and I had the CVA, I had the Cascade, but I had the LRH, was their long range Hunter one and a 300 Win Mag. Rifle is awesome, and I was shooting it beforehand. I did shoot it. It was just 414 yards, and I was hitting every time with a solid rest. And I wouldn't take that shot offhand, but I felt really confident in it. I had the Maven RS1. You had the RS2, so I had the RS 1.2 on there, which is a 2.5 to 15. So it's a little bit bigger scope, but it has illuminated reticle. You can dial it in, do that kind of stuff with it, but it's still light enough that I felt good about it. Honestly, the RS2 is probably like
that's perfect for
the perfect scope for the scenario. Now this worked great, like I said, and even your rifle, I don't think the LRH was necessary for this hunt either. Was it a problem? No, I still was able to carry it through the woods fine. It's a little heavier, but it doesn't have an extremely long barrel on it that I couldn't maneuver through brush or whatever. I do like that the stock is flat on the front for resting on either branches or like on the wooden stands. It just gives you a really solid base and keeps it level. So that was nice with it. And then I had a shooting stick with me, which was an Argali trekking pole that they sell, this little Y that screws into the top, and you actually used it to shoot your moose off of. Yeah. It just gives you another point of contact, kind of when you're sitting in those positions there to be able to have. And I had the Barnes TTSX. We all had the same ammunition, just different calibers. So. Mm-hmm.
Cartridge.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
For that guy that'll comment on this.
Yep. Exactly. All right.
While we're talking about optics, can I touch on that real quick?
Yeah.
So I have a pair of 10 power Mavens, 10x50s.
Mm-hmm.
Love them, but I would 100% do 8 power for this hunt if I did it again. Mm-hmm. Which next time I'll probably bring my smaller.
The B3s.
The B3s, yeah. Because 10 power was just a little bit too much when you're going through the brush. It was one of those things where you'd look at something and you'd pick it up, and because it was like a shadow that looked like a moose body, and you pick it up at 10 power, you didn't know you were looking at the same thing because you're constantly like trying to make sure you get it perfect. And I'll definitely do 8 powers next year. I think you even said the same thing.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I had 10s with me too. I had the B1.2s, the 10x42s, and I think the B3s would be totally fine. It's just that they fit. I mean, they fit fine in the bino harness. They were. I'm going to carry because at first I was like, maybe I don't need a bino harness, but it is nice to have everything there, and like again on stocks to use it as a gear kind of holder there too. But
I mean, 10 power works great for sitting lakes like that, though.
Yeah, for sitting lakes, like even with looking at Dad's bull there to determine, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a legal bull. Being able to see that, which I mean, there's not much to a legal bull is 4 inches. So I don't know if that's even possible to have one with 4 inches.
I'm guessing that's got to be a calf, probably.
Yeah. But that's good on the optics. Their rangefinder I think is definitely important.
Yeah, rangefinder is important
to have.
Yep.
I had the Maven RFC one, which is their new one that they came out with that the optical zoom. And is that the right terminology for it? Magnification? You can go up to 12 power zooming in on it. I don't know if that was really necessary for this. The RF1 would work totally fine for it. I was more testing it anyways. But either of those options would be fine. But definitely having a rangefinder because the lakes you can get. I mean, there were some spots out to 500 yards.
Yeah.
Across those lakes. So I think that was important.
Very important.
Quiet clothing. We talked about that. Yeah. So like going through brush when you're moving, like I think like still when you're sitting at the lakes and stuff, like having, because you don't want to be packing like having to pack, say, the Fanatic stuff from Sitka in that's super big. I mean, you had the Fanatic vest with you, Dad, but it's just bulkier, where I think the puffy gear is fine for static sitting there. If you have something quiet underneath, if it's brushing up against, because like you said, if you're moving around a lot for hearing, having that can be a little bit of a scenario. But man, my puffy pants, those are so nice to have on those cold mornings.
See, I brought a Whoopee blanket, and that was a game changer for me on this trip.
Yeah.
When I wanted to take a nap, I'd just roll up in it and just disappear. And same wrapping around my legs and you're on an island or whatever, that was...
I will bring my puffy pants next year. Kurt talked me out of it this year. I asked him, I says, do you think I need my puffy pants? No.
I don't have puffy pants, so I try to talk everybody out that has them, taking them. I don't want to be left out.
Yeah, because I mean, there was we had 85 degrees down to 25 degrees with wind.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cold some of those mornings to have, but quiet pants, like honestly, they're not as great for the cold mornings. If you have puffy pants, that would work. But the Intercept pant from Sitka has the wool and just like the soft outer versus like the more water resistant outer shells that can be louder slapping, brush across. The Timberlines, I wore those most of the time, and those are my favorite pants they make, but they are a little bit louder going through things. But the Intercept was good. But anything like that or that's quiet going through the brush. Same thing with jackets, whether it's merino wool. I mean, typically when you're stocking, you're not going to be wearing like a heavy jacket or anything. But
with the clothing, boots too, I did almost exclusively in leather boots the whole time, and you did rubber boots almost the whole time. I would say it's 100% necessary if anybody's doing this to bring both.
Yes, definitely bring both.
I switched into my rubber boots every time we killed a bull because I knew we were around water and stepping in that kind of stuff. So they were both 100% necessary.
Yeah. I had both me and Dad had the vent lights from
those
Sitka.
were really nice.
They were great for that because you could wear them up to 60 degrees and your feet weren't sweating. But when it got cold, kept them warm, and they go up to your knees. So like getting in and out of the canoe and any of those wet areas. I actually chased that bull around that whole day up in the hills in the vent lights, which are not the most ideal for that because they're knee-high boots. They're a little clunkier walking through. It's harder to feel where your foot's going down and everything, but like it worked great. But then, I'd switch to my Lathrop and Sons when we'd be either I was scouting or hiking into areas, drier areas. So I think you're 100% right. Having both was really important.
Then, as far as my clothing too, I did a lot of the insect shield. Because of the, we didn't have. There was mosquitoes but there were several days or evenings where they were nuisance. But with that on, I just basically had to cover my hands and I did have my head net, bug net. I would definitely recommend bring.
You didn't bring one, Kurt.
I forgot one.
I told him he didn't need it. But I utilized mine. I think that's a necessity.
I was having mosquitoes bite right through my wool base layer.
Yeah.
So,
I never had one bite me anywhere except for my hands if they were exposed.
Yeah. And I did not bring because I thought I didn't bring my Equinox Guard stuff. And I was like, and I was here bear hunting. I lived in it. Like that's what, but I was like, oh, they're not typically bad in the fall, but they were bad enough that I wish I had that as a base layer to be at least the top. I mean, the pants are nice to have too, but just the top would have been killer to be able to have. I put that on my list as something that to bring next time I do this. Trying to think if there was anything else on the clothing side of things. A pair of leather gloves.
I was just gonna say leather gloves.
Yeah. We both had the Gunner gloves from Sitka. I had the old version. You have the new ones there, but leather gloves because you get wet.
Yeah.
They're great for that.
I didn't wear them most of the time while actually hunting, but every time we did anything canoeing around the water, I wore them, and that was they were the best thing for that.
Yep.
It was perfect.
Except for if you have to put them on when your hands are wet.
Except when your hands are wet and you have to put them on. I agree.
They're so hard to get on then.
Yeah.
Anything else? But yeah, definitely a good layering system. From hot weather to cold, having all the above is important. We talked about packs already. With having something that smaller, whether you only do that and plan that no matter what, you're going to have to come out and get a frame pack. Or if you have one that, say, a lid of a pack or something that can turn into a stocking pack or a waist belt or something small to make that work. Water filtration. So I didn't want to carry a bladder, just wanted to keep weight down. And an Nalgene bottle would get me through most of it. But say just cooking breakfast and coffee, there's 16, 18 ounces of water right there out of it. So I just brought the little Sawyer squeeze system and just a 750 milliliter bladder that screws into it. And I just fill that up at the lake because you're sitting at the lake most of the time. Yeah, the water's gross. So that... with all the beavers and stuff in there, but it comes out clean and tastes good. I didn't have any problems yet.
Yeah.
No, but that was nice because it weighs nothing. I keep it in my pack all the time. But did you guys you use mostly like tablets or something? Didn't you?
I used so I had a pump filter. It's one that I've had for 10 years at least. And it worked great for the first part of the trip, but then at the end, the little tab on where the hose goes in broke. So but I always have the filtration or the tablets, the iodine tablets as backup. So I used those for a couple of days until you got your bowl, and I borrowed your system for a little bit. But
I was using the tablets, but I probably would have a filtration system next time, probably similar to what you got.
Because all the stuff that's in the lakes and
you need something.
All just the
particles,
the particulates and stuff.
And that's when I would do the tablets. I would put like my net gator over it or something to filter out but that also took forever doing it that way.
Let's see what else. Food. How was everybody's food?
Great. I that was my favorite part, honestly. One of my favorite parts is you're so like, it's such, especially when you're in a blind, like after it cools down, it's like, okay, it's slower part of the day. Turn that stove on real quietly, light, and then I did all dehydrated foods and freeze dried, and it was in coffee. But that was great. I don't know. I would do it the same way next time too.
Yeah. Yeah, I had dehydrated meals too, and I'd definitely do that again as well. Yeah,
I was just carrying the breakfast ones until I ran out. The Peak Refuel breakfast skillets. I love those. Kurt, you're not as big of a fan of those. You like the Mountain House ones.
Yeah.
But carry those and have them like 10, 11 in the morning kind of deal, having their thing coffee there. Because at night, which we didn't plan on this at first, we were only going to do it for the first week, but we ended up having enough food. But highly recommend cooking dinners at night. Prepping things, buying things at the grocery store beforehand, coming in, and it really didn't take us that long. There were simple meals and stuff that we cooked. Someone would cook, next person would do the dishes, and we just kind of cycled in every day.
Yeah, we did a rotation of basically rice and mashed potatoes on sides for everything because those are things we could bring dry. Didn't need refrigeration or anything like that, and then plan a meat to go with it or. It's
and a big bag of frozen broccoli that we'd do every few days.
French fries too.
Yeah, we did that too. And then once we had moose meat, we had some moose meat too.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that when I shot my bull, we were planning on we're going to do tenderloins first night, and we're taking the stuff up to the cooler because it was hot, which is, like I said, an hour drive. So we just grabbed 2 spare bags of meat. One of them had like neck meat and flank and stuff like that in there, and the other one had tenderloins back straps.
Yeah.
Grabbed the wrong bag, and everything's so big in there that we just grabbed, me and Dad both.
Because tenderloins would have been on top.
Yeah.
So I just grabbed in there and took the chunk of meat out that it looked almost, it didn't look at it well. But then we went to cook it up. You say, this isn't tenderloin.
Yeah, you handed it to me. You put it down on the plate. You're like, oh, here's some tenderloin. I grabbed it, and I'm like, it was like a flap.
Yeah.
Like
It wasn't.
a foot by
it
a
was
foot.
about the size of a tenderloin.
It was like, I was like, this is not. I don't know what this is.
Yeah, so we grabbed it out of the round bag.
But it ended up being
It was
so
delicious.
tender.
It was. I mean, it was. Yeah, it was just as. I won't say. Well, we'll find out. We'll compare it to the tenderloin we had tonight. We're at a little more time to find the right bag today. We were kind of rushed. You wanted to get it up there to the cooler, and it's like, yeah, that's the right bag, and just reached in and
Yeah.
But that was then we we had that. We're still eating leftovers of that. We finished them up yesterday.
Yeah, no, that was really good. So I highly recommend putting a little more planning and bringing some food and cooking that at the cabin. In the mornings Kurt would do some coffee, we'd have that and grab a snack and head out the door, and then the rest of the cooking during the day was in the field or bars, snacks, whatever, and then dinner at night.
I just want to back up to gear. I don't know if we do talk about rain gear.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, well, I mean, we only had really 2 days of rain, one all day rain on and off, but I think that's an exceptional dry year for up here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a necessity to make sure you have rain gear prepped with you, bottoms and tops, along with a cover for your pack.
Also act as a windbreak. So
Yeah.
'Cause you shot yours in your downpour jacket, and you had that on, and it was used as a windbreak plus, having a little bit of, obviously rain protection too. Knives. So again, we have thick skin. So if you're using a fixed blade, I think having a knife sharpener, I don't care what knife you have, is incredibly important to be able to do, because you're going through this hide, and especially around their feet when you go to wring their ankles, there's so much sand in there from them on the lake shores.
Plus you're on the bone.
So that was important. But before we get into that, I got gifts for each of you. So, Dad, you already got yours gift. I made you give it back so I could give it to you again.
I gotta look excited though.
So you got the case, the Ridgeback Hunter. This is what we used to skin my bull,
my bull,
and yours too. But I had both of those here. This has become my favorite hunting knife from Case. And so here's your gift. Now you can actually keep it. You don't have to give it back.
Wow. I was just borrowing it before.
Yeah. And Kurt, instead of, I didn't really want to give you an actual gift, but I wanted to give my new nephew, Hatcher, I wanted to give him a gift.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
So this is probably my favorite knife overall from Case, which is the leather mini fin.
Yeah, I love mini fins. They're like a little bird and trout knife. And actually, with mine and with yours, that's what we skinned our grouse with.
Because you have one, and I've had one Grandpa gave me.
I have a couple of them.
I think Grandpa gave me as a kid. I don't think you did, Dad. I think that was Grandpa, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably Grandpa.
Yeah, well, thank you. He'll be pumped about that.
Yeah,
skinning some trout and some grouse with it when he's old enough. What, 3-4 more years?
Yeah.
How old do they have to be for
that? Yeah, something along those lines. But there's that. Wanted to give you those. But
thank you, Bo.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So that's what we use that, and then you guys also had some other knives too. I don't know if you wanted to touch on them as well or anything.
I used I have a bench spade Saddle Mountain Skinner. I've had that knife. That's another one that I've had for probably 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. Worked really well. I did have some time using the Case, and that worked great skinning it too.
Yeah.
Like that was on your bull I used one.
Yeah.
Worked great. Yeah, no complaints there. But definitely having a good fixed blade is necessary for moose.
Yeah,
for sure.
We did use a little bit of a removable blade one. With you.
I have the Outdoor Edge setup that I've had, and replaceable blades.
Because at the end of a second moose, blades were getting dull.
Yeah.
And I don't care what.
Yeah, and that's what I like about that.
Yeah.
That type of knife is I can interchange the blades. But as far as this performed very well with
Yeah.
with especially with your moose.
You can't beat the surgical blade of like the replaceable one
Yeah.
like that you have for doing like some of those that real thick hide of going through it or stuff that you don't want to dull it. But what I don't like is what happened to you is you accidentally hit that button and the blade pops out and it's just like
Oh yeah,
just
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't personally own any of those because I'm not a fan of them. But
Well, and if anything, maybe that's something you just ring the legs with.
Yeah.
Because you know you're going to end up dulling your knife somewhat.
go down the back, hide with it, then ring the legs
and
with it.
then pull out your fixed blade and finish it off.
yeah, and do the rest of the work with it.
I did have I forgot to mention this though. I did have usually I have a pocket knife with a clip on it, but when I'm hunting, that clip always rubs on my stock.
Yep.
And scratches it up. So I for this hunt, I brought an old case trapper
Yeah.
that had the 3 blades on it, and that worked just great for just general whittling on sticks,
Yeah.
opening up dehydrated meals, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Dad, do you want to hand my my other knife
geez.
over there?
We don't need to see this.
That's it.
This is one you stuck Kurt with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I whittled myself a wolf shank when I wasn't carrying my gun. After that, I had to protect myself from wolves. So I whittled this up. The tip is broke because it broke in Kurt's hand.
Yeah.
Kurt told me that it wasn't a good use, and I went like this, and I accidentally stabbed him in the hand. So, yeah, but that was my wolf shank.
Wow.
Pretty cool,
Nice.
huh?
It gets even less impressive every time I see it.
All right, we're about to wrap this up, but I did want to. The other thing I want to touch on was game bags. So there's a couple different options you can go with, like with that. You guys went the cheaper route on game bags, which worked, but definitely had some.
They're a one-time use.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they worked, like I said, but especially because I didn't know how this hunt would go. If we do it 1 year and get nothing
Yeah.
and never want to do it again, I didn't want to spend upwards of $200 on quality ones that can be washed and reused. So we went the cheaper route, and they worked. They weren't as nice, but they did work.
Yeah. No, they definitely did work, but I was, joking with you guys because I had the Argali ones, which are very expensive, but they're super nice game bags and light to carry. And they go on right away. They've got nice paracord straps, reflective. You can hang them by the ropes, and your guys's were just a little bit tougher to even roll on to it.
Yeah, definitely.
And got some holes in them and stuff, which
it happens, but
but no, I mean either of them did work, and they keep, and the whole purpose of a game bag is to keep flies from laying eggs on them, and also just to kind of create a protectant barrier there.
Yeah, and there's we actually got by the people that run the place kind of told us that most people do not use game bags up here, and they leave the hide on the quarters.
Yeah,
which is something I've never heard of or seen before. I don't know if I want to try that, but so for somebody looking to do this, that isn't a necessary thing. It's just nice to have.
Yeah. And they were using what are those called?
Stretchers.
Stretchers, basically.
Old Army stretchers. That
you could use for 2 people and put a couple quarters or whatever on there. And I watched the one that was hung up in the cooler that another group had killed. Where they just cut the animal in 4s, basically, like down through the ribs, back, all the hide on, everything, threw them on the stretcher, and that's how they brought it in. Like everything was connected. I was like, man, and they looked at me like I had 4 eyes, like what do you mean you corded it up like that? You cut it all up already, I was like, it's a moose. Like, how did it carried out? They're like, the stretcher we provided for you. I was like, oh, okay.
I want to try that method I sent you a video of before the hunt.
Oh, where you use
where you cut straps in the moose hide and you use them as backpack straps.
Yeah.
And you just throw the quarters on your back.
Yeah.
I want to try that.
Yeah, that would be next year you could try that. But yeah, and then so we're gonna get the meat home here. We're gonna pick it up in the morning, head back, and I think the plan is gonna be some of it we're gonna put in. I've got a big 150 quart Yeti cooler, big one. I have a 75, which 75 really only gonna fit probably the loose meat bags. And I don't even know how the quarters, if they'll fit in the 150, because we have them, still on. We'll see. Might be able to fit a couple front shoulders in there. And the rest is going to go, I have that Freedom camper, which I talked about a little bit with Derek's podcast, with the AC unit in there to keep it cool. Should keep it around 45, 50 degrees in there, which will be enough for the 12-hour drive back, so we can get it. And we're taking these moose to the processor deer season's in, so be better to get it taken care of versus spending 2 days cutting up meat. But anyway, so we're gonna try that, and the reason why we're not throwing everything in the camper is we're not really sure as far as the trailer that we have and the way it's set up right now, if it's going to be too much weight on the back of it and need more weight on the tongue, and we have to put the four-wheeler in front, which that really doesn't weigh that much. 450, 500 pounds, I think, is what that four-wheeler weighs. So if we have more than that in the back, then it's just not going to steer really well.
No, it's dangerous.
Yeah. So that's what that's our plan. But did I miss anything, or did we miss anything?
On the gear front, or just in general?
Just in general. Any last kind of thoughts?
Yeah, something for us, mainly for us to remember next year.
Okay.
Every time we've got a moose down, we had an opportunity to get back to camp. I think either having our kill kits in one spot at camp, along with rubber boots and all that, so when you send somebody back for a kill, it's not waiting on a text with what gear you need, or even having them in your truck or on the four-wheeler.
Yeah.
So that it's just, and that also lightens our packs throughout the day. Is not having to carry game bags and all that, because again, with moose hunting, everything's slow. You're never at a point where it's like you can't wait an hour to get a game bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And even if you did start butchering, you're not going to get to that point and needing it until then. And like having the meat saw in there, a pair of waders, whatever it might be that we determine that we need to have it in a tote and a kit that someone can grab. Yep. I agree with that. I think that's
I think that's a good idea.
Make us more efficient on that.
Absolutely.
On that realm of things. But I think I think overall went pretty smooth, and definitely learned a lot. Ton of fun. Highly recommend if anybody's looking to do something, like they're always dreamed of hunting moose, and you maybe thought, I want to go to Alaska but can't afford it, and you're gonna have to wait 15 years to be able to save up and go do it, which is probably going to be 3 times that price at that point. To consider doing something like this, because I definitely, especially looking at the experience, if you're just looking for a certain, giant antler size, then this isn't the place to come to. But if you're looking for that experience and getting a moose hunt and do that with family and friends, have a good deer camp atmosphere type of thing, I mean, man, this was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, it was a really good, very good experience.
And for those people living in the East, like, this isn't a crazy trip to logistically plan for.
No.
But
no, it definitely isn't. But
and the outfitters, but they're great.
Yeah,
great people.
Absolutely.
Quick to respond if you have an issue with the cabin or whatever, and it's very, very. They provided a very good service. Yeah,
that was Lac Brûlé. I said there's usually a waiting period to get in with any of this stuff. It takes years in planning typically to go through with it, but they've been awesome. Yeah, awesome to work with, and helped us with anything we needed. We said we might want to have some fires, and they brought us firewood and
and they're always at the Harrisburg Outdoor Show.
Yeah,
so check them out, the Outfitters Hall.
Yeah. You can stop by and check them out. So it's super cool. But I think with that said, I think we'll wrap this one up. So thank you guys for taking the time doing this and for a great hunt. And Kurt, do you want to plug? Do you want to plug your kind of now official gunsmithing business, or?
Yeah. If you guys, I've kind of got my my shop set up now. I got a good lathe, and can do full service on stuff. So if anybody has any rifles they want to build, or reach out to me, use my website. It's highlandcustomllc.com. I have a form on there that kind of helps me eliminate some of those first questions. So fill that out. kind of gives me an idea of what you're looking for, budget, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so go check that out. And his Instagram is Kurt the Gunsmith, so you can find all of the educational stuff you put out there with gunsmithing, rifles, anything else. So that's all available there. But
absolutely.
All right, I appreciate everyone listening again, and we'll talk to you next week. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this conversation, share it with your buddies. Leave us a rating, a review, and subscribe. If you want to check out more content like this, there's plenty in the links below. We truly appreciate having you guys along with us.